on the 10th of July, 2022. At around 11 p.m., 5 men walked in a tavern which is located in the Nomzamo informal settlement in Orlando East, Soweto. 4 of these men were carrying 9mm pistols and 1 was carrying an AK-47 rifle. After walking in the tavern, the men started shooting randomly at a group of people before fleeing the scene in a white minibus. When the police arrived a few hours later, they found out that a total of 23 people were shot inside the tavern. 12 people were killed on the scene, 3 more people died in hospital, and 8 were seriously wounded. Police investigators picked up over 140 empty cartridges from high-caliber weapons at the scene. Former Police Minister Bheki Cele formed an 11-member detective team to investigate the murders, and also members of the Tactical Response Team, TRT members, were deployed to the area to assist the local police. In August 2022, a month after the Soweto Tavern shooting, a man named Sarele Sello met with the former South African Minister of Police, Bheki Cele, at the Intercontinental Hotel next to the OR Tambo International Airport. The former minister attended the meeting with his spokesperson, while Sello was accompanied by a former Hawks branch commander. The gentlemen had gathered to discuss the Soweto Tavern shooting. On the 8th of August, a second meeting was arranged in the city of Parktown in Johannesburg. Sello and also Bheki Cele did not attend this time. However, during that meeting, the South African Police Service turned up with a list of 10 individuals whom they wanted in connection with the shooting. On the 5th of September, 2022, the SAPS released a list of 5 men, all members of a popular organization from Lesotho called Terene Mokata, who were wanted in connection with the shooting. A few days after this, specialized Gauteng detectives issued warrants of arrest for 5 suspects wanted for the murder of the 16 people who were shot at the tavern. The suspects were identified as Sarele Sello, Chepiso Elliot Hadebe, Thabang Radikatara, Chidiso Moleko, and Keletso Rabasoto. On the 22nd of September, officers from the National Crime Intelligence Unit arrested 1 suspect who was linked to the tavern shooting incident. He was found and arrested in the city of Johannesburg. The suspect was handed over to the Johannesburg Murder and Robbery Investigating Team for further handling. He then led the investigating team to one of his accomplices who was arrested in the Northern Cape province on the 23rd of September the following day. 2 more suspects would later be arrested a few days later. A 5th suspect would also be arrested and linked to the tavern shooting. On the 26th of September, the 5 individuals who were suspected of being involved in the tavern massacre appeared at the Orlando Magistrates Court. The suspects appeared with their hands cuffed from behind. Residents from the Nomzamo settlement in Soweto filled the court to capacity on that Monday morning. Some residents stood in the court corridor watching proceedings through the windows. According to the police, one of the 5 suspects arrested for the shooting is a former Hawks officer. It is said that the man worked for the Hawks in the Northwest Province, but resigned a few years ago. The second suspect is said to be from Matatiele, a village in the Eastern Cape, and he is also a popular singer of Lesotho traditional music. The 3 other suspects were said to be from Lesotho, and they were living in South Africa illegally. The 5 men would be provisionally charged with 19 counts of murder, multiple counts of attempted murder, robbery with aggravating circumstances, and also defeating the ends of justice. 16 of the murders took place at the Soweto Tavern. However, the 3 additional murder charges were from cases which were reported at the Kliptown Police Station and the Orlando Police Station. According to the police, one of the men is linked to the murder of a well-known Lesotho musician, which occurred in Kliptown in October 2021, and an attempted murder case, which happened in the township of Orlando in May 2022. The other suspect was held on a warrant of arrest for a double murder in the township of Doornkop in 2021, in which 2 Lesotho nationals were shot and killed. According to court records, The massacre is allegedly linked to a feud between rival gangs from the landlocked nation of Lesotho. These gangs are said to have been locked in a cycle of revenge killings across the reef in the South African provinces of Gauteng, the Free State and Northwest, for years. At the center of the bloody feud are scores of abandoned mines, hitmen for hire, and also Lesotho traditional music, popularly known as Famo music. Lesotho, a small landlocked kingdom encircled by South Africa, is known for its breathtaking landscapes, proud traditions, and rich oral culture. But beneath the beauty lies a story rarely told beyond its borders. A deadly conflict that has claimed hundreds of lives, rooted in a traditional genre of music called Famo. What began as a musical expression of Basotho identity has evolved into something far more dangerous. Famo music is a traditional Basotho genre played with the accordion, lyrics often telling stories of daily life, love, and conflict. Famo music originated in the slum yards of Johannesburg in the 1920s. Back then, it was mostly performed for drinkers of an illicit brew called skokiaan in illegal drinking spots for black people, called shebeens. Many visiting the shebeens were Basotho nationals who joined throngs migrating to South Africa in search of work, which also included native black South Africans dispossessed from their land under apartheid. From South Africa's townships, Famo made its way to Lesotho and became common in shebeens. Its arrival in Lesotho can be attributed to two major groups. First, migrant laborers, especially men, and second, Basotho women who came from the locations and mine compounds in Johannesburg. Over time, as Basotho migrants traveled between South Africa and Lesotho for mining work, Famo music evolved into a cultural movement, with musicians gathering followers and creating informal associations or trains, known in Sesotho as terrene. Famo music became more than entertainment. It became a cultural institution. Famo is not just music, it's a form of storytelling. Songs narrating personal struggles, politics, love, pride, and street-level bragging. Like rap or dancehall, it has long walked the line between celebration and confrontation. In the mining hostels of Gauteng and Free State, migrant workers would gather, drink, and perform Famo, sometimes to pass time, sometimes to assert dominance. Over time, these performances grew competitive, then territorial. In recent years, Famo has become notorious beyond dance halls and concert venues. Fierce rivalry between some fans and singers has caused deadly gang warfare in Lesotho. Recently, the violence has exacerbated so much that the government banned some Famo groups and branded them as terrorist organizations. Many of the killings are connected to a long-standing feud between two major Famo gangs, the Terene Mokata and the Terene Chakala. The war between these two organizations has left a trail of corpses. According to Lesotho's police records, more than 100 people have been killed in Famo-related violence over the past decade, many of them being musicians, gang members, and also very powerful individuals within the Lesotho political scene. On the 14th of June 2017, a 58-year-old woman named Lipolelo Tabane was shot and killed in the city of Maseru, the capital of Lesotho. Gunmen ambushed Lipolelo in her car as she made her way home and shot at her multiple times at close range, and she died on the side of a road. Lipolelo Tabane was a Lesotho political figure and the wife of the former Prime Minister of Lesotho, Tom Tabane. She had 2 children with him after they got married in 1987. At the time of Lipolelo's death, she was going through a bitter divorce with the former Prime Minister and had been living apart from her husband since 2012. Tom had moved in with his current wife, Messiah, sometime between 2012 and 2017. Lipolelo was shot and killed 2 days before Tom Tabane was to be inaugurated as Prime Minister of Lesotho. He appeared at his 2017 inauguration with his current wife, Messiah. 2 months after Lipolelo's death, Messiah and Tom got married. 5 men, who were all in the leadership of an organization called Terine, were accused of the murder of Lipolelo Tabane. Prosecutors suggested that this was a contract killing in which the hitmen had been promised 3 million rands for the job. However, it is said that only around 400,000 rands was paid out, much to the displeasure of the Terine leadership, who had been promised 3 million and government jobs. The subsequent investigation into Lipolelo's assassination collapsed amid a wave of killings, but the incident exposed deep fractures within the Terine organization. The Terine group is known as a Famo music collective, which began in the early 2000s. Initially, Terine operated like a traditional music label and community collective. They organized concerts, protected their artists, and began cultivating loyal followers in Lesotho and the Free State. But as the mining economy collapsed and the Lesotho government became increasingly unstable, these groups took advantage of the vacuum. The gang's transition into criminality began with small-scale extortion and protection rackets at Famo events. Over time, they developed into armed units, controlling mining shafts in Velcom, Carltonville, and Randfontein, where illegal gold mining became a gold rush for the desperate and fearless. Key early leaders within the Terine organization included Chakela Mokethi, a charismatic Famo musician turned godfather, and Mokata Letuka, a younger but equally ambitious lieutenant. Together, they built Terine into a shadowy movement, feared across Lesotho and parts of South Africa. However, tensions soon emerged over leadership, territory, and money. This first became apparent when 2 Terine leaders clashed at a rally, which was hosted by a popular Lesotho political party called the All Basotho Convention in August 2018. At that rally, one Terine faction, which was led by a man named Nate Tselana, accused another faction, led by Sarele Selo, of blocking their access to the leader of the All Basotho Convention party, as well as instigating the placing of Chakela on the police wanted list for the Lipolelo murder. In December 2018, Terine officially split into 2 factions, the Terine Mokata and the Terine Chakela. Each side immediately registered its own burial society in Lesotho and began a bitter turf war that would claim the lives of hundreds. Terine Mokata, or the Mokata faction, would be officially led by Molefi Matima Mokata. This faction would be the more prominent ABC affiliate. Terine Chakela, or the Chakela faction, would be officially led by veteran Famo musician Rethabile Chakela. In March 2020, Chakela and 5 other Terine members would be officially charged with the murder of Lipolelo. Upon hearing this, all of the suspects, including Chakela, would flee to South Africa, prompting the Lesotho police to issue wanted notices. Since all the suspects were in South Africa, they were put on a wanted list by the Lesotho Mounted Police Service. Sarela Sello would become a state witness in the case, underscoring the state of affairs inside Terene, as it was Terene Mokata testifying against Terene Chakala. In June 2020, Chakala publicly declared that Terene had shifted its allegiance from the ABC party to the rival Democratic Congress Party, complaining that the Terene gang had helped the ABC win the 2017 elections in Lesotho and deserved a reward. He said his allegiance to the ABC had borne no fruits, and instead he was now on a police's wanted list and could no longer visit Lesotho. In August 2020, 2 months later, Mokata, the leader of Terene Mokata, was shot and killed at a funeral of a Terene member in Gauteng. It is alleged that he was shot by a member of Terene. After Mokata's death, Sarela Sello became the de facto leader of Mokata. Sello was even called the gang's government by ABC figures. In January 2021, the man who started it all, Chakala himself, died from COVID-19 related complications at a Bloemfontein hospital in South Africa while awaiting trial for the Lipolelo murder. His death marked the end of an era, but did not stop the violence. In fact, his death triggered new leadership struggles within Terene Chakala. Multiple splinter groups emerged, some seeking peace, others pushing for total war with Mokata's faction. Meanwhile, Terene Mokata grew stronger, gaining recruits and mining turf.